So what is cooking on this beautiful Why Wednesday in November?
Yes, Fernando Valencia. Good morning, everybody. Happy Why Wednesday. So thankful for you being here. Um, Acceleration is present. And what I am just feeling super energized and compelled to do is to drop right in. But I understand that you're not in the same state of acceleration because you didn't have the blessing and privilege, most of you coming off an hour call with geniuses like Laurel and Mariano, Fernando Valencia, Adam Gagino, Kathleen, Chaz, um, Gina, Nicole, Tiffany, just and on and on. So to slow it down and like build rapport and catch up, how you doing? Like, how are you doing? And when I say how are you doing, what I'm really asking is not just like, are you okay? Like, how are you doing? And that's the way that my mom, beautiful soul, my grandmothers would ask, because and there's a part of them in their love that wanted me to like sort of not be okay so they could hug me and nurture me and take care of me, which was so beautiful and so amazing, right? And I do want that. You feel nurtured and connected here, but that's not how we're asking. We're asking is an accountability check in because how you are is a choice. And how much are you allowing a false narrative to impact your day? You go, uh-oh, we're getting political? No, we're getting apolitical, but we are confronting our self mastery in the media. How much are you stepping into the frame of like everything is destroyed in a mess, that life as we know it is over because there's potentially voter fraud or not voter fraud or false claims of voter fraud, all these things. And by the way, I am not saying these issues don't matter. They do. But what I'm also saying is don't kid yourself that whatever is or is not going on hasn't gone on in every single election in American history. We just have a much greater transparency in the media than ever before. Like, I grew up in Hudson County. We joke about it, Rob Gill. Like, voter fraud in Hudson County was as common as like a pizza place. It's not okay. It's not okay. But it's also when you have 24/7 news channels, right? Or false claims of voter fraud have gone on as well. So, whichever side of this you're on and whatever is going on, how is this impacting your money, time, and magic? The acceleration future. You're like, I can't do this. I just can't. Really? Because David Goggins can run on a broken leg. So at 4:30 this morning, I was listening to David Goggins talk about how you run on a broken leg. So I'm quite confident that all of us could deal with the onslaughts of media. And one great way to do it is to not listen to it. And the only way I would recommend you should be listening to it, I was offered a $100,000 retainer this weekend for Caligari Law to jump into this litigation. So, like, maybe I should be listening to it, when I'm having my team evaluate some issues. So there's some relevance. There's $100,000 relevance for Caligari Law to what's going on, and I'm not even listening to it. And I am not even listening to it, right? I've been offered to submit stories daily and opportunities to begin to appear on television regularly, and I'm not even listening to it. So if there's television appearances potentially at stake, and at least $100,000, which could easily turn into 500,000 or a million, right, at stake for Caligari Law, and I'm not listening, then why are you really listening? Why are you listening? And I want to speak into, we have some beautiful people that have gone through recovery from addiction, and it's amazing. And I will submit to you that the addiction to social media and the news and negative and to drama, there's actually been books written on this, is not that terribly different than addictions to drugs, alcohol, gambling, pornography, and other things, right? So I just bring no judgment. I love you. I just bring present the possibility that you can live in an entirely different world and still care and still be a force for positive change and not be addicted to listening to things minute to minute because you're not changing it today. So if you want to speak into, and this is one of my outcomes in this TV potential scenario, I'm going to be submitting stories that are going to begin to be the seeding of positive change. So if you want to do something, then help me, help us. Send stories in. Say, I think not stories of wrongdoing, but topics is probably a better word that you think would be incredibly valuable for me to discuss on national news to make our country and our world better. That might be a good use of your energy because then we can actually do something because you're talking to somebody who could do something now, potentially. So, Fernando, does that resonate?
Does it resonate? Talk about access point and the creation of the purple party. My head is in like 12 different directions right now. And here's just the truth. I didn't even realize that until you said it. I knew about this. I thought of all that. I didn't realize like what access point that really is in an integrous, non-selfish way. But man, talk about an access point for change, communication, message spreading, viral potentiality. I don't even know that's a word, but now you have my head thinking all over the place.
Yeah. And what does it look like if in Unblinded, we create our own PR agency, except it's not going to be what PR normally means, which is like spin, manage crisis, but instead, like we are relating to the public, like which is what public relations, like we're relating to the public in a way to bring this messaging and the formula to the world. And what does it look like if all of you in 3 months and 6 months are making like local television appearances? You're having speaking engagements, speaking about integrous influence and unity. Now we're actually doing something. And remember some of my little bit of fire at the end of the call yesterday, talking about people making stupid negative posts over the weekend that I don't love blind people, even though I'm giving $250,000 and coaching people for free and all the other things that I'm doing. What if those people instead were causing 5 blind people a day to come on the huddle? Right? Which action step do you think would be better? And they're all fired up, about like accessibility of the website, which we're working on. But instead of like negatively attacking something that's being handled, and 2 people were fired because they weren't handling it, and plus other things, right? And over consecutively, like different people over time, right? And now we're working with the AFB on it, like to just get it done, like right. But what if instead they were causing that leadership? And what if it's 6 people, and that 6 people became 35 people, and those 35 people were each committed to having 5 people a day come on the Unblinded Huddle, right? Or 5 people that could impact blind and raise money for the blind. How much of a different outcome would that be? So instead of, and I'm troubled by some things that have happened on both sides, okay? I'm very troubled. But I'm not railing against it in social media. What I'm going to do is build a purple party, which is what I said 2 years ago, which is not what Unblinded is.
Boom.
Right? It's like Unblinded is endless things. It's also a potentially rising political party, right? And if like, well, I don't want to be a political party. Okay, you don't have to be part of that, but there will be a division of this that is eventually influencing politics, and it will never be designed to play the way that we're talking about. You can play this recording someday and see if it is, because I would never do it, but to reveal truth, like, and to figure out ways that we create criteria to educate voters on how you might want to evaluate your voting selection. Because I'm going to make you a bet that most of you have no criteria if you're on the left or the right for actually deciding who you're going to vote for. Some of you do. I give you that. Most people don't. And certainly outside of this elite and this world, of Unblinded, most people don't. Democrat, Republican, down the line, right? As my son Tyler says, we're gonna have Tyler start coming on again and speaking into these issues because he's brilliant. And he just said, we just haven't figured out yet that a two-party system doesn't work, right? Like a
Sean?
two-party. Yes, Adam.
Oh, you've said so many things, and one that I can prove without a shadow of a doubt at this point around how much more alike we are than we think. You know, obviously, Fernando and myself are talking to 20, sometimes more people a day. I think you'd agree we're getting to know people at, pretty deeply. We understand where they've come from and where they want to go. And I will say this, I have not spoken once to anybody in the past 2 months about anything polarized politically. I couldn't even tell you who is on what side out of the hundreds of people I spoke to.
Yeah. And
yet I've been able to connect deeply with so many people. And I could tell you that we're all alike. At the end of the day, it's the goals, the mission, the purpose. I mean, there's so many similarities, and this doesn't even come up. This doesn't even come up.
Yeah, Adam, tell me this isn't true. People want more money.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
There you go. That's what comes up. Not anything about the election.
And in their magic, as Tony Robbins would say, they have 6 human needs, right? They want to grow. They want to connect. They want to feel good and proud and have some significance. Because, by the way, feeling like proud and having some significance is not a bad thing. It's just if it rises above other things, right? If we put significance over connection and love, we put significance over growth, we put significance over contribution, we get pain. But if we want growth, connection, love, contribution in some varying order as our top 3, and we have significance somewhere in the bottom 3, then we're not really in a bad place. I personally would think that significance and certainty would be optimally 5th and 6th. I think number 4, sitting at uncertainty, variety, I think is really effective. Certainty and significance, the bottom. But we still need significance. That's why I feel so good when we're acknowledged. But if our acknowledgement only feels good for significance, then we have a challenge. If what happened with Tony Robbins on Saturday night only felt good for the acknowledgement for my significance, then I have a problem. I would have a problem.
Boom. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Yeah.
Can you just say that definition and example of significance again?
Yes. Thank you, Fernando.
Please.
So if Saturday night felt good, because some of you can listen through your own significance and go, he's just talking about this. Not, and by the way, I say some of you, not in the elite. I don't think that's happening at all, right? I'm talking about to the broader world, but maybe to a couple of you. So I get that I'm speaking into an aligned group of people in these programs now. Like, this is a very different huddle than it was 6 months ago. So I get that. So when I say it, I mean when this is re-seen by the public at large, right? Or some folks in the public at large watching today and that are not as connected to what we're doing and are not in, our programs. So if what happened on Saturday night was like, yes, that felt great because I was acknowledged by a hero and a mentor of mine, right? And that's all it meant. Then it's all about me. And I would be having a problem. Like, that would be suboptimal for what it actually is. And the reason it really matters is because it allows us to grow. Unblinded to grow, me to grow, because that moment, that validation and the impact it had on the people who witnessed it or hear about it helps unblind people to the reality of what's going on here. So it's helping a person 3 months from today, we don't know yet, that's a lawyer that's in pain in Oakland, California. That's how I think of what just happened. It's helping because there's people in the room who we could ecosystem merge with and do things with, that validation would have been like, what's Unblinded? And I really think I like Sean, but like, is he for real? Is this for real? And Tony saying that shift, like it's like could be the tipping point for that person being like, oh, let's go. And that's what I'm present to. And that's why I cried. Because in that moment, freeing of friction is occurring for growth. And also there's like connection and love for everybody felt through inspiration, through those dynamics for everyone. The seeing of possibility present. It was a million different things. My significance, I could look you in the eye and say with an absolute, no shadow of a doubt, was sixth on the list. Was it present? Did it feel good from my heart to be seen, heard, and understood? Absolutely. But it was sixth. Fifth, I had abject certainty that this was of immense value, right? And it was good in the world. Fourth, it was exciting. It was fun. It was different. It was cool. Like it was an amazing experience. It was just like, wow, like out of nowhere, this is completely crazy. And what could this be? And what could this create? And the thoughts, the innovations, like were present and flowing. Like, so yeah, there was variety in it, uncertainty. There was contribution in it. You know, it filled my heart. It drove me to want to even contribute more. I've given to Tony's foundation and done a bunch of beautiful and wonderful things, and will continue to do that. And driven. I'm thinking now, how do I contribute to other outcomes, drive the mission forward? How do I give him more? Like that was present. Like last night I was thinking, what can I do for Tony? What can I do for Tony Robbins? I don't want to send him like flowers or food, which is a beautiful thing. I'm like, how can I really, like he gave me something insane. How can I blow his mind and give him, Sage, and everything they're doing something totally insane? I was literally thinking, how could we like start having more people sign up for Platinum Partnership? How can I innovate things in Platinum Partnership to make it even more magnetic? Like I was like literally last night after like an 18-hour day laying in bed thinking about that, like contribution, right? Connection, love, as I said, was felt by all that were involved. There's more connection and love that exists between, you know, him and I and you know, our worlds, right? And then like growth, I'll put that at number one. Like I was present to like this equals growth. Ecosystem value has just exploded. What do we do with it to not squander this amazing investment? There was an investment made by us in being there, by the team, by all of you, by everybody. Like, what do we do with it, right? What do we do by what Tony invested in us? So what do we do to not squander it, to not bury it, not squander it, but exponentially expand it, growth, right? So that's how significance fits and works into the dynamic of acknowledgement or experience of things. The excitement, the exuberance, the energy isn't like, I got the microphone, I got the stage. It's what did you do with it? Who did you serve? What grew and advanced? Fernando, thoughts?
Yeah. Thoughts would be, right now I'm fixated on the word squander. I'm just, for some reason, that's like where my heart is going. I'm like just thinking of squander. I'm thinking of your why. I'm thinking of, you know, how, here's the truth. I'm thinking of how I squander some of the things we're doing, not because I want to, simply because we're constantly moving so fast that I don't think we share it. We don't speak about it enough. You know, we choose to stay humble on what we're creating. But man, there's a lot out there. And where I'm getting this from is, one, from what you're saying, two, from the few times Adam and I have shared like what we're working on, the reaction of like, we gotta know this. It makes me realize what we're actually doing, because Adam and I live in it so much, so 20 hours a day, that we don't realize the speed of innovation that's actually happening. And to put it all together and then kick it back to you, for everyone, we could listen to everything we just heard. And this is yet another example of how quickly your heroic, unique identity could shift. And then the power, one of it's happening, causing it to happen. The other is realizing it's happening. The third is everything Sean just said, because it's not just one thing happening, it's 9. Then the question is, how do you use it? What do you do with it? And this is all process mastery of one section of the formula. And I don't want to get all, scientific on you, so I'll take it back to you.
No, that's awesome. And Fernando said to realize it's happening. Because if we're in our significance,
Boom.
if we're in our significance, we don't realize the value. We're just like, oh, I feel so good. It feels so good. So if we're in our significance, we don't realize the value and what to do with it. That land, Fernando?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
What I really want to jump in real quick on and acknowledge Fernando on that, because Sean, this is what exemplifies the formula, because all of that you just described was self-mastery. And without stepping into now process, which Fernando mentioned, and then how it's used to influence, to have the impact that you described, it goes nowhere. So with just self alone, even if you understand all those dynamics of the human needs, you need the process and influence afterwards to make it turn into anything.
Yeah, and there's no teasing in this. This is like for real, right? Imagine, Fernando, if when you went up on stage, on Tony's stage,
yes,
if in that moment when it became your turn, right, to say something, if you just said, listen, in integrity, I cannot ask this beautiful woman out on a date. I have a girlfriend. And my purpose in coming up here was to simply say, because I didn't know if anybody else would say it, you are a beautiful, incredible soul. Your energy is amazing. Settle never. And thank you for letting me be here. And you walked off stage. What would that have done, Fernando, for your heroic, unique identity? Because then you would have been in the moment of, I was selected. How do I use this for growth and for good and connection and contribution instead of significance? Does that land?
My head is going, damn. And so yes. And then I'm like in my head jokingly saying, and people say you can't influence 40,000 people in 3 minutes. Yeah. If I would have done what you've done, it would be what you just said in that 30 seconds, it would have been a galactic, heroic, unique identity shift. Galactic. And I didn't have the presence. I was in my ego, all these different things. And I didn't hit that. And that's the power of knowing what to do with your influence.
And the reason people say they can't influence people in 3 minutes is because they're in their significance.
Yes.
Their significance is at stake. They're not in their needs of growth, connection, love, and contribution. Like being growth, being connection, love, being contribution. If you're in those three, they will inform your self-mastery. Putting your significance last, conditioning yourself to put your significance last, will create massive acceleration. Bella put her significance last. There was not one thing I experienced her doing in this event that was connected to her own significance. Not one. That was above the other five. Not once. Contribution, connection, love, growth were everywhere, continuously. And her adding variety, craziness, right? Those four things where it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to live an enriched life, make those the first four, drive certainty to 5, significance to 6. And now you're in an abundant mindset. You're in a massive flow and acceleration. Incredible things are happening. Thank you, Tony Robbins, for that technology. Thank you, Tony Robbins, for that technology. And now you are rocketing and accelerating forward. Fernando, we're going to just anchor on that. Today's message is significance 6th. It destroys your acceleration, right?
Couldn't agree more.
And we're in our significance. We're like, these mother effers, I can't believe, read this, you're a jerk. How could you not see significance? We're not in growth. We're not in connection, love. We're not in contribution. Significance is the destruction of your leadership. If you are in your significance, no leader will join you. If you're in your significance, no leader will join you.
That's a shirt right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get that, Chaz, on t-shirt number 78. If you're in your significance, no leader will join you. Okay. It's Why Wednesday. Love you guys. And let's have